It's Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Nima Akasha Sibri. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. Good morning. I have a small story to tell.
Please
So
tell
I have this business my friend set up several years before I met him. He's into hospitality, and I frequent the place. And I went there about 4 weeks or 3 weeks ago, and tissue was not in the toilet. There was no hand wash soap in the toilet as basic. I told the admin staff, I told the people I saw around. And so I went again yesterday, and it was still the same issue. And I spoke to one of them, and she said, no, we just don't have it. I was like, that's not possible. We didn't, look at your reception, it's full. People would definitely use the toilet. And I thought, okay, I'm not helping them. I'm helping my friend. So I called my friend. I told him that you should take care of this, your legacy, this thing that you have built and worked hard at, because your recent appointment has not given you opportunity in 8 years. It's not well managed. Maybe you should look into funding and all of that. And he said, okay, I would call. And then when I said to them, as your boss called you, they just were shocked. How did you call him? Where would you call him? I was like, I cannot be repeating soap and tissue.
No, me, I take people's businesses very, very serious.
Feedback,
I will report any staff to their owner.
I wasn't even reporting them. I was spotting an issue. I thought whatever is incapacitating them from sorting out tissue and soap, we can sort it out any other way. But
please, if you see anything wrong in my business, shout. And let me know.
I like that.
I'm very, very good. Went to Ekpe yesterday, visited 4 of our estates. We have 5 estates in Ekpe. 1 is sold out. We visited 4. And I'm happy to announce to everyone that we have already done 10,000 ridges. But we are a far cry from our goal. Our goal was to do 50,000 ridges, but we need more customers to be able to achieve that goal. Please check out my social media page to see videos of our ridges so that you can see for a fact. But our plan is to, by November, December this year, have 50,000 tubers of yam that was grown in Lagos. And at that point in time, we can call in the then commissioner, hopefully the same commissioner for agriculture and special advisor to say these yams were grown in Lagos and it is possible to do more, you know. But right now, we only have 10,000 tubers because only 10,000 people have, the number of people have subscribed to get that point. So we need more subscription.
Amazing.
Yeah, to get details on social media.
How are you doing, Mariam?
I'm fine. So an NGO called Lend a Hand for Africa. It's an organization that addresses inequality in education through educational programs for low-income children. And they've asked me to be a guest at one of their programs to read for some children in the Ikorodu community. And I would love to go there with some books. So I'm asking anyone who's interested in investing in our children for the books I'll be reading. My book, Vultures to the Rescue, the Cleanup Crew. I would love your donations. I already have a couple of people who have bought, quite a number. It would be nice that when we're done, they're able to get these books. So send me a DM. You know my social media handles. Thank you.
Fantastic. So I'm pretty excited.
I love your hair.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Oh, BC's, is it BC's
Yes,
Empire?
hair by BC. BC's
Hair by
Empire.
BC's Empire. So she hooked me up with this new. I was just
So
tired of the
pretty.
same old look for a long time. They BC hooked me up. My girlfriend.
The color, I love the color on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like my color. Right. So I mean, the governor sent us a gift. Thank God. I mean, we got it. It actually came in yesterday, but I guess we just didn't get around to. They were trying to reach me, but they couldn't get me. So it came in yesterday. But it's been International Women's Month, and a lot of women across the state have been getting gifts from the governor. Ladies weren't left out, so we have ours. But
Are we talking about it? Or?
Oh yeah, I mean, we just
yeah. So I haven't been on. Last week, you guys were. There was a lot of political conversation last week, and someone sent me a DM to say, why does it seem like your view is campaigning for the governor? And a lot of people sending me different things to say the governor is going to churches, he's going to all of that, and I've actually been waiting and hoping to talk about it. That I don't think there's anything wrong with the governor going to churches and engaging with people. Nigerians tend to complain. If he goes out, you say he went out. If he does not go out, you say he's ignoring you. You really can't please people. I love the fact that our governor in Lagos State is very responsive. He listens. He replies immediately in most cases, and we've had a very good experience. I've had a good relationship. I've known the past governors since democracy, and I've had the opportunity of interviewing all of them, and I must say that Lagos has been blessed with good governorship, and I'm thanking Governor Sanwo-Olu for giving us, recognizing your view, ladies, for the International Women's Day, as they always do. We're happy to receive their gifts.
Fantastic. All right, so let's go on a break now. When we come back, We go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're going to start with The Nation. Banks limit customers to 20,000 naira over the counter. Foreign airlines trapped cash now $743.7 million. Lady kills landlord over electricity bill. Global crisis likely with collapse of 2 U.S. banks. 3 years after China reopens borders to foreigners. Dosumu, other Lagos PDP bigwigs back Sanwo-Olu. Federal government reserves $618 million for youth in tech and be proud of February 25th polls, says UK envoy. All right, which story are we starting with?
The headline. So the Punch went to town following the, the new directive by the CBN. They saw that banks have started paying cash, over-the-counter cash is now limited to 20,000 per withdrawal, but banks have started paying. Also, they noticed that the ATMs were getting queues again, and they took the inventory across Abuja, Lagos, banks, different banks, and they said they are now paying. Some of the banks are paying as low as 5,000 per withdrawal to one customer, and some are paying as high as 20,000, but 20,000 seems to be the maximum that they are paying across all the ATMs that they checked.
Of old notes?
Of old, yes. Banks have resumed paying out old notes. This report is for the old notes.
All right, so
I have a human interest story.
Okay.
A woman kills her landlord in Ogun State. So a 33-year-old lady, Ifeoma Osai, has been arrested for allegedly killing her landlord. They said there was over a minor difference in their bills, electricity bills. They said the landlord came over and then she grabs the landlord by his private parts, drags him until he falls to the ground. Unfortunately, by the time he was rushed to the hospital, he was confirmed dead. So this story is just to say we need to be careful how we express ourselves when we're unhappy with each other and when we are angry. Keep your hands to yourself. Use your words. If you cannot use your words, lock the door and go to a police station and report the matter. Now look at, sadly, we have a situation.
All right, so for those of us, that's really, really sad story. For those of us following international news, there's been shockwaves across the country, across the United States, as we know that the Silicon Valley Bank crashed. They said about $100 billion has been wiped out of the U.S. banking system following the collapse of the Silicon Valley Bank. This and that also sent shockwaves across Wall Street, and that affects many banks globally. They're saying that many of the shareholders dropped by 75%, despite even the president reassuring the banking system was still safe. Major U.S. banks, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, many of them had plunged. JP Morgan down 2.7%, some down 7.4%. And also there was another bank, Signature Bank in New York, also closed by the authorities. They fear that keeping the bank open could threaten stability of the financial system. And there was a guy, Dr. Doom, if you recall, he was somebody that had actually predicted the 2008 financial crisis. He said that he's very sure that the Silicon Valley Bank crash poses a risk of global contagion. So that's a risk across the world, and it's something that we must continue to observe globally. And
now we're keeping our monies in the bank. Anyway, let me take the good news from China, which is that I think that's a hot topic, but let's just focus on this. China reopens its borders. Good news. 2020 was a major year, affected everybody, but China locked their borders March 28, 2020, and since then, their borders have remained locked until now. Good news to those who had previously gotten multiple entry visas to get into China. They said it's still valid till now, and China is announcing that they want to restart, they want to revive their economy. China is the world's second largest economy, and its domestic tourist industry has been stopped for the past 3 years, and they're expecting to revive that. The entire world is still trying to recover from what happened with China because there's still shortage of some goods across the world. So we're happy that China is getting themselves together. The Punch. Naira crashes, banks ration old notes. NLC insists on 7-day ultimatum. Review 1,000 Naira and NIN fee. Council tells NIMC. INEC will prosecute electoral offenders with speed, says Yakubu. Oyo SDB candidate withdrawals and backs Makinde. Fuel price hike imminent.
over the power supply marketers won. Dollar shortage, banks slash travel allowance and foreign school fees. Almost a 13 million cyber attacks recorded during polls, says federal government. And foreign airlines trapped funds hit $743 million, says IATA. Okay, which story are we starting with?
So yesterday I took the NIN story where I said that they'll be charging 1,000 naira right now if you are going to collecting your passports. But the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council on Tuesday called on the National Identity Management Commission to review this new fee that they have put across Nigerians and other African countries. And they're saying that that this would not, that first of all, they said that PEBEC has taken note of this announcement by NIMC, and for them, they feel that this would affect, the way that people are doing business in Nigeria. But they also brought to their attention the fact that this particular agency that was put together is supposed to, MDAs, that's ministries, departments, and agencies, are supposed to, confer with them on issues like this. They're supposed to have like monthly reports that they make to this to the agency, but it seems like this was done away from them, above their heads, and so they're saying that they think that they should reconsider it, even though they understand that it's supposed to make for easier collection of passports and better services. They do not think that that 1,000 naira would sit well with a lot of the stakeholders.
Okay, another story in Punch.
Petrol story. So, according to Ipman, we have another crisis looming, and this is, of course, because of the NNPC's inability to provide enough product or widen the gap of supply. So, according to the National Publicity Secretary, National Public Relations Officer of Ipman, Chief Ukadike Chinedu, he says that the NNPC and its retail subsidiaries across the country are the first point of contact when it comes to delivering of petroleum products, and they are not spreading the delivery to the exact number of trucks of fuel that are meant for the independent marketers. They said that with about 3,400 tickets lying around waiting at the NNPC retail account, they are not getting enough supplies. And until the NNPC has finished loading products to its own outlets before they attend to independent marketers. And he gave an example of what is happening across the country. He says 80% of filling stations across the country are owned by IPMA members, and it's surprising that the NNPC is not supplying petrol to IPMA members as first contact. As at this morning, trucks are lined up all the way to Niger bus stop on the Badagry Expressway from the Trade Fair bus stop, and they're on both sides of the lane. So whenever I see those trucks, I know that another crisis is looming. But I hope that, they conduct themselves properly so that those of us on that side don't start to pay the price for the consumption of fuel across the country again. It happened in December last year. It was not good at all, and they should do the
let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're still reviewing Punch. You had a story, Topper? You didn't have
Yes. I was planning to take the story.
Okay, let's move on now to Daily Sun. Actually, I thought I had a story here.
Yes, I was going to take the story of banks. I was trying to remember the story
Dollars.
I was going to take here, dollars.
Yeah, booting.
So the deposit money banks have slashed the amount you can get for personal travel allowance as well as school fees. Customers can apply, but it is a tough time getting foreign exchange because we have a shortage crisis. In an email that was sent to customers, they said that PTA allowance has now been slashed from $4,000 to $2,000. The truth is, most of us apply and we only get less than $2,000. Also, lenders have cut overseas school fees from $15,000 per semester to $7,500 per semester. This is going to have a major cause major challenges for many of Nigerian students that are studying abroad, and we also have the challenge of they said that the economic and financial analysts are advising the CBN to devalue the local currency with the view of bridging the gap between the official and the black market rates.
INEC had a meeting, yes, an interagency consultative meeting yesterday where they had told the politicians to caution their supporters, stressing that March 18 governorship elections is likely to be more tense, and they should caution them to that is a contest and not a war, that they should just take things easy, and that he has instructed that INEC must set up a legal team to speedily prosecute any electoral offenders. So they're not going to drag it. They're going to be a speedy process, and they're going to ensure that, you know, all those who are planning some kind of disruption of the polls will be quickly prosecuted and sent to jail. Moving on quickly now to Daily Sun. Gilbert Assembly polls. NSA gives and military security agencies marching orders. Excuse me. Over 120 anti-corruption CSOs resume protest against EFCC chair. $498,000 money laundering. Court reserves judgment on remanded reps member. INEC chair lacks credibility to conduct other elections, says Obi's supporters. Over 12 million cyber attacks recorded during the presidential poll. Old Naira notes knocks for Buhari and Emefiele. Presidential election, PDP Atiku returned to tribunal with fresh application. Okay.
So remember the House of Reps member in Rivers State was found with about $500,000?
Yes.
Yes, so he's facing a money laundering charge in Rivers State. He was actually taken to court by the police under the Office of the Federal Attorney General, but interesting times because the Attorney General of Rivers State has applied to take over prosecution of the matter. And the judge, his defense counsel did not counter it. I'm just saying, I'm just thinking it's a wiki kind of
legal thing.
But it's legal. It's legal. There's nothing funny or legally here.
Yeah, an in-house.
So, but the court has reserved judgment and adjourned till May 4.
Okay, smiley Nima, I like it. Anyway, the federal government has said that a total of 12,988,978 cyber attacks were recorded during the 2023 Presidential and National Assembly elections in Nigeria. The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Issa Pantemi, disclosed this in a statement yesterday. He said threats to public websites and portals normally would average 1,550,000 daily. But he said that during this Presidential and National Assembly elections, on the day, it skyrocketed to over 6 million. That's nearly 7 million attacks. And he goes ahead to list, he said during this period, a series of hacking attempts were recorded, including distributed denial of service, email and IPS attacks, SSH login attempts, brute force injection attempts, path traversal, detection evasion, and forceful browsing. And then he says it's worth noting that the center successfully blocked these attacks and escalated them to relevant institutions for appropriate action.
Okay, so the indigenous people of Biafra have accused the DSS, Department of State Services, of hiding the truth about the health state of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. According to their spokesperson in Powerful, he said that if they are sure, according to them, they feel like Nnamdi Kanu is suffering from health challenges, malnutrition, and heart condition. And if they feel that they are sure he's in good health, they should allow Kanu's personal physician attend to him. He said that the statement by Adeyemi Olumide, who says Kanu's health is normal, is false, and that if the DSS isn't hiding anything, they should allow him to have access to his personal physician. Basically, that's all right.
So there's still issues concerning this cash, as we had discussed earlier. Yes, where we can spend the 500 and 1,000 naira notes, but the issue is still the fact that there's still limited cash available. There's still long queues at the banks, and the paper's reporter said the reporter went around to see that there's still long queues, and there's got to be something done to see how
there's no 100.
There's not enough notes available for the banks for people to withdraw. There's still 20,000 naira limit per person, and that is still a problem for many Nigerians. And they're asking that people should, the government should review this policy so that people can have cash in hand. Vanguard intrigues as governors' orders intensify battle for states. Respite as banks accept 500 and 1,000 naira notes. Presidential election, FG records 12.9 million cyber attacks. Nigerians should be proud of 2023 poll, says outgoing UK envoy. Over 130 CSOs, lawyers resume Power Must Go campaign. Certificates forgery, 43 Nigerian nurses face criminal charges in the US. Oops. Polls, NSA threatens severe sanction for electoral offenders. Polls shun ethnic violence, coalition tells Nigerians. Okay, which story?
The U.S. Department for Health, of Health and Human Services Office Inspector General and other law enforcement partners in the U.S. are investigating 75 persons for certificate forgery in nursing, and out of the 75,
How many?
43 are Nigerians.
I mean, 43, no.
Serious.
43 are Nigerians, and they said there's a scheme in alleged scheme involved in the selling of fake and fraudulent nursing degrees, diplomas, transcripts obtained from accredited Florida-based nursing schools to registered nurses and licensed practitioners in the country, and that even though it's called an Operation Nightingale, even though those nurses are allowed to practice, they must probe their certificate, and if they're found, they stand the chance.
So agencies selling certificates to Nigerian nurses
investigated, and they found that they sold to 43 Nigerians who are also using.
So it wasn't like the Nigerians. It's an American
agency.
So it wasn't like
that we are just recipients of these guys' fraudulent activities.
Yeah, the one selling.
It's not our idea.
I'm just hoping.
We are still investigating.
If you use fake documents, you
must have no fake. They paid for it now.
You would know. You will know that it's fake.
No, they do courses online.
No. The documents is to show that you have gone to nursing school in some of these institutions in Florida, and you did not go to nursing school in Florida, and then you not come and say that you did not know when they gave you.
We have
whatever.
There's two sides to be fraudulent.
But according to the report, there's another exam they do to qualify. So they have their certificates, and then they'll take exams in the states, different, just as we do in law. There, they have different states qualification exams they will do again to qualify. So most of them are eligible to work with that second.
Yes.
Okay.
But that first one.
All right, another story.
We have the outgoing British High Commissioner in Nigeria, Catriona Lang, has said that there were setbacks in the Saturday, February 25th Presidential and National Assembly electorates, but that there were also positive developments. And she says that she's been here since the that she has seen a remarkable difference since the 2019 elections when she arrived. And she says, yes, there are some disappointments, but, you know, largely Nigerians should be proud that we have shown progress, and it shows that progress in the right, of course, progress in the right, in a positive way. And she says, we're the largest democracy in Africa. African countries are looking up to us. So, and then she also says that we're resilient people, and
she's very proud of us.
Very proud of us. And our own president of the Senate also said, as you know, Nigeria and Britain, we have come a long way. You know the usual Nigerian-British story. So.
Okay, so leaders of the ethnic-based organizations, civil society, cultural, artisan, faith-based community groups yesterday expressed their worry over what they described as a slide into hate and disdainful, provocative statement by the political and social media actors. And they're saying that as we're going into the Saturday elections, we must avoid anything that can spur ethnic violence and conflict across Nigeria. And they're also wanting political parties to sheath their swords and allow peace to reign as we round up to the governorship and House of Assembly elections on Saturday. Moving on quickly now to the Nigerian Tribune. Let's find a story of not taking governorship poll more complicated than presidential, says NSA. Banks comply with CBN directive. Landlord dies after tenant drag squeezes his manhood over electricity.
Yeah, I took it already.
For electricity bill.
Homicide. Oh, that's the story you took. Homicide. Police declare Bauchi lawmaker wanted, place for #1 million bounty on him. Presidential election, 12 million attempts made to hack Nigerian cyberspace. Anxiety as FAO releases food security nutrition assessment in 26 states. Rule of law. Over 20 anti-corruption CSOs, international lawyers, insist Bauer must step aside. Okay, which story?
So the force headquarters has declared a serving member of the House of Reps representing Bauchi Federal Constituency, Yakubu Shehu Abdullahi, wanted. And the lawmaker was declared wanted by police for alleged criminal conspiracy causing grievous hurt, disturbance of public peace, and culpable homicide. So there's a picture of him with the caption "wanted" that has been put out by the police. So if you have any information concerning him, there's also a 1 million naira reward for anyone with any useful information that could lead to the arrest of this 45-year-old lawmaker.
Okay, that is all we can take on today's front page review. When we come back, we start with our next segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We have our guest, Princess Aderemi Adeboale. She's the special advisor to the governor of Lagos State on civic engagement. Welcome to the show, madam.
Thank you very much for having me.
So tell us, I mean, I know there is obviously elections this weekend, and I know there's so much talk about what the governor has done, and why he should be re-elected. And this is a segment for you to explain to us what's the Department of Civic Engagement? What do you do? And how do you do your work?
Okay, thank you very much, Morayo. Office for Civic Engagement is an office under Mr. Governor. And if you look at his team agenda, which is transport and traffic management, health, environment and education, the E, M, making Lagos State a 21st century economy hub. Then the second E is entertainment and tourism. Then the S stands for governance and security. So my office falls under governance and security. So what we try to do in that office, number one, the office is divided into three. We also relate with the executive arm and the legislative arm. But I'm going to talk about the civic engagement arm, which deals with citizens. We are the link between the citizens and governance. So we try to bring governance closer to the people. So under that office, I brought in a lot of firsts in Lagos State. And I'm going to explain each to you. The Mother, Infant, and Child Development Program, MICHD 2050, is a program that looks at security from the womb. Remember, I'm under S, security. So I'm looking at security from the womb, wherein we are saying if a woman is pregnant, especially the indigent pregnant woman, let her eat properly so that for the proper brain development of that child, so that when that child grows up, will not become a security threat to the society. For the most part, and not just in this part of the world, we look at security at a curative angle. We don't look at it from a preventive angle. If you are looking at security from preventive, you have to know that any person, the formation starts from the womb. So if our indigent pregnant woman is not eating well, is not feeding well, our indigent pregnant woman, we wake up in the morning, we drink Pepsi, we probably take, drink Paraga, eat chin-chin, unlike the elites, you know what to eat when you are pregnant, educated person, you know what to eat when you are pregnant, you green leafy vegetables, drink water, exercise, sing lullaby to that your baby. It's true, so that when you now give birth to that baby, the baby can compete, in this competitive world. But for that indigent pregnant woman that doesn't know all these things, so we came from that angle of making sure that they feed properly. So when we look, so we went to the local government because we cannot do this without the local government's partnership with us. And we find out that most pregnant women, the indigent ones, they don't come to the primary health care center until they're like in their second trimester, which is they're like 6 months into their pregnancy. So we say, okay, let's start giving them food packs that has carbohydrates, protein, zinc, we give them rice, we give them beans, we give them wheat, all these things, just because of the proper formation of their baby. Now, that has now given So we are using health as a means to an end. I'm not under health. I'm under civic engagement.
Yes.
But for me to achieve that aim, I have to use health to achieve that aim. Yes. So most of, if you look at it, like the indices of the maternal mortality rate, right now is 512 per 100,000 lives for the mothers. 36 per 1,000 lives for the neonatals. Under the Mitch program, we started in 2020. In 2020, we did 2,000 women during the lockdown. Mr. Governor said, just give all the pregnant women in Lagos State, give them something, princess. So we did 2,000. We did not monitor them. In 2021, we went to the research phase, where we took 570 women controlled and 570 cohort. That means the 570, we monitored them. The 570, we didn't monitor them. And we gave the 570 food packs for 12 weeks. And we noticed that the 570 that we monitored, their baby birth, the weight was about 3.772 kg. Was very, was tremendous. And then the mothers were able to come to the clinics. We increased the attendance from 68% to 98%. Wow. Yes, so we had a lot of positive results. But remember, for me, it's just the brain formation that I care about, but we have
Let's get a few more questions in for you.
Yes.
So I have been privileged to work with your predecessor at the civic engagement. I did not know that department existed. Then Commissioner for Home Affairs just referred me because I had an indigent case I was talking to him about. And he said, there's an office, go to the Office of Civic Engagement. This is what they are to do. And I found out there's a financial pause. I wasn't able to access it later because of me. But I'm surprised that, that existed. So tell us more about that and how people who need that assistance from the Office of the Governor can access it.
Okay, so financial assistance program, I'm still coming under security, still making sure that an average Lagosian can put food on their table, health-wise, that they are okay, that they have accommodations. So when I came in, we put out the financial assistance program to all Lagosians. And if you want to get a financial assistance from the Office of Civic Engagement, you don't have to know anybody. Just tell us your story. We will make sure we check your story and make sure you are telling us the truth. So if you come there, what you need is just your Lastra number, a working phone, an address that we can verify from, and your BVN. So once we can verify all those things, no matter who you are, no matter what you are, as long as we can verify your case, we give you financial assistance. And in the last 3.5 years, we have spent over 600 million, giving out to Lagosians, when it comes to health, accommodation, school, and what have you.
Yes. What's the minimum of funds that you can release?
Okay, so you can get anywhere from 50,000 to 2.5 if I take the approval to Mr. Deputy Governor, which we do a lot of that. Anything over 2.5 million goes to Mr. Governor. And so, so it's between Mr. Governor and Deputy Governor, depending on the amount, that you are requesting for. But we have done a lot of 2.5 for health reasons, yes.
So in the last 3.5 years, would you be able to put a number to the beneficiaries?
Yes.
Of this
so for the Mitch, we have impacted over 5,000 women. For the financial assistance program, under Sanwo-Olu Listen, we have impacted over 2,500 people. Under the financial assistance, we also have eco-cares. This one is about giving products. So we are trying to eradicate extreme poverty. So we push out fast-moving products like Biggie, Pepsi, Gala. We give it to them like 20,000 worth of good for them to quickly sell and get the return immediately. On that one, we have impacted over 6,500 people in Lagos State. And like I said, you don't have to know anyone.
Just apply.
Just come, apply, and we give it, and we assist you. Yes.
So at the office at Alausa?
At Alausa, yes. Yes.
Okay, so I'm hearing, the truth is, yes, a whole lot is being done, but when you weigh the numbers of the people that are getting this support to the population of people in Lagos State, it is very, very far. We're talking 6,000, maybe 2,000 pregnant women, and we're a population of far more than that. So I feel that the question will be that what is the plan to reach more people, and how are you intending to do that? Okay,
so let me also explain this to you. My office is not the only office that does social inclusive programs. We have the Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, they do a lot.
Yes.
We have what creation, they do a lot for our indigent citizens. You know, so it's not just so. This is what my
it's a collective effort.
It's a collective effort.
So if you don't get from here,
you get from here. You get from there. You know, so we have other people. We have SDG that takes care of the volunteers.
Yes,
we have the yes, that we have the office of chief of staff. So we have other ministries and offices that does things. And please, I have to mention something about the Maid program. Also, once the women are into our, like our beneficiary into our program, we give them free Ilera health insurance. Wow. So that also, and this is all effort of Mr. Governor, you know. Amazing. So this is a person, and remember, all these are new initiatives for me, you know. Take this idea to him, we sit down, okay, let's go ahead, let's push it. You know, so it shows you the other side of him that a lot of people might not know. It's compassionate, it's compassion about people, is way of reaching out to the less privileged. So he pushed that out through a whole lot of us. You know, so it's not just of my office that does these things. Yes.
Yeah. You know, we always talk about grassroots here and how it can get to the grassroots. Would you say that these programs, especially the one under your agency, targets those at the grassroots?
Yes, 100%. When I came into office, I could have chosen to go, work with the elites, still engage and sensitize them. But I think Mr. Governor wanted my office to focus more on the grassroots empowerment, on the grassroots engagement. Yeah. Yes.
Talking about that, this is Nigeria. Corruption is found everywhere. You know, there's a good idea from either governor or from you, and somebody always manipulates the system for profiteering. So somebody say, don't worry, give me this amount of money, I'll get your name on the list to be a beneficiary. Don't worry, I say that you can't call anybody, but this is Nigeria. You have to know me, you have to know the SA, you have to know somebody. So what is the process? If I leave my house now, what exactly, how do you ensure that some people are not profiteering from this this scheme that you have that has been approved by the government?
So you can talk again with the Maid program. We have a Maid application in place where it monitors the women as they collect their packs, because you can also manipulate that. So we have, where you call the women know they have to collect their pack every week. If they don't get their pack, they have a number they can call. Okay. We have Agnes that calls the women and monitor them and all that. So that's for the Maid. For the financial assistant, we also have a program wherein we put all their data into a database. Okay. So if you come for the first time, we put in all your information. If you want to come for the second time, the database will immediately flag you. Okay. Now, how do you prevent? Now, my number, so when we do the financial assistance, I would say, okay, Muritala Williams, somebody referred this person, is a walk-in, is a this, and I put the number there. And all the numbers are shown to Mr. Governor and Mr. Deputy Governor. Number one, they can call that person by themselves and make sure they actually got their money. Right. There was a case about a month ago where somebody went to the party secretariat to go and report that they made him sign a check for 2.5 and they only gave him 1.5. So the legal person called me from there. I'm like, okay, I will investigate. Upon my investigation, we found out that, so the voucher, they put a 2.5 voucher together, so they can put about 5 people under that voucher. So you sign, but you are going to sign a voucher for 2.5, but then it shows your name, how much you are getting. Oh. So things like that. So there is a way that Mr. Governor can check. You can question. So there's an avenue you can always go. And if any of my staff are telling you that, they know me. So it also depends on who sits on that seat. Yes. They know that if such happens,
so let me quickly throw this in, because similar to what Morayo was saying, when you were saying that other ministries are doing something, I worry that someone will not say, because they understand the system. And usually people that understand the system are like maybe grassroots politicians that understand how to go about it. They will get from Mitch, they will go to SDG and collect. They will be the one benefiting from all the activities because they are the first to hear about it. How do we prevent one person from benefiting from multiple programs, the same person getting all those?
Okay. So what Mr. Governor has directed in ESCO is that Office of Economic, Ministry of Economic Planning, to have all the social welfare programs in a database.
Fantastic.
So that you can monitor this, so that one person does not go to about 5 ministries or 5 offices to get the same thing. So Ministry of Economic Planning monitors this to make sure that does not happen. But we also monitor it at our own end. Right. You know, again, if you come to me, at least from my own end, if you come one time, I can flag you. You know, even for the meat program, we also designed it that if you are giving birth to one child, you can only enjoy it twice. If you are giving birth to 2 children once, 3 children you cannot, because we don't want people coming.
I was going to say
yes.
So I saw a family in the past who took advantage of every of the welfare packages at the Mother and Child Hospital now, till their 5th child. They were just walking, and it was provided for emergency cases. They walked in and they sat down there, waiting for an emergency to happen.
No. So we make sure if you have 3 children, you cannot, because we don't want people coming and having babies on us. The program is designed for a purpose, for the proper well-being of that child.
So, I mean, and also, we know Lagos is a city that attracts everybody. So people come from all over to seek medical attention, to seek help. Now, when somebody comes in for maybe from Togo, for example, and comes in and comes to needs help, and then you help, obviously, in settling into Lagos and starting out, do you monitor the person to ensure that the person has something that can continue living properly in Lagos, or you just give them that help and you move on?
Well, my office is not in charge of monitoring if they, continue to
afterwards
live. But if we can verify their address, if they have a LASTRA number, if they have a BVN number and a working phone number, that's what you need. Yes, that's what my office is.
They're not just strolling by, they actually live in Lagos.
You must live in Lagos and have a LASTRA number. And I believe that LASTRA would have done the due diligence to make sure that
they get that number.
Exactly. Thank you very much. We have to wrap up with you, but what are your final words? I mean, it's election season, everybody's doing everything they can. That's why you're here. I know this is a sponsored segment, but you know you are here because you wanted to be here to tell Lagosians especially what you're doing. So what are your final words since it's your time?
Yes, well, thank you very much, Morayo. My final word to Lagosians is on Saturday, vote for Governor Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu and Obafemi Hamzat. These 2 gentlemen are not just governor and deputy governor. They are your brother, they are fathers, they are very compassionate. Lagos State now, the APC, we are at the center now. We have a president-elect. There are so many things now that is being put in place that can be done in this next administration, aside from them continuing what they have started in the first tenure. So I would tell a forward-thinking Lagosian, a forward-thinking person that want progress for this state, that want progress for their person, that are very futuristic in their thought process, to do not be deceived by all these rumors and ideas flying out that vote Governor Babajide Olusola so that all these programs that we are doing in my office can continue.
Okay, thank you. That's all we can take on this. Okay. See you after the break. We'll be right back.
All right. Thank you
very much. Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So back to our TV topic. And today we'll be discussing especially a story that we saw online that caught our attention. It's all too familiar, as a lot of families have to deal with having helps in the house to assist with domestic chores and all that. There was a story by a businesswoman who, according to a testimonial which she uploaded online, said that she had exposed the evil plot of one of her helps in the house, identified as Farida. She said, according to her, she woke up at about 1 a.m. On Tuesday, March 14th, and found the suspect mixing her private menstrual blood with urine in a bucket. During the interrogation, she explained her intent was to pour the mixture in her boss's children's water bottles so they could consume it. However, she refused to reveal what happened to the kids and after they drank mixture. The businesswoman also, I mean, obviously she went crazy and she posted the video. But as usual, we don't like to focus on that story because we don't have the full picture. We don't know exactly what really happened, although you can comment on it if you choose to. But our real focus in helps, how to manage them, how to work with them, especially those who, some of them are uneducated, others are. How is the best way to deal with those of us who have domestic helps in our houses? That's our conversation today. And how do you prevent these kind of situations from happening? You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. You can also tweet to us at TVC. Can I please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read the tweet? So that's our conversation, really. Should you want to say a few things about what you of this story, and then before we then talk about it?
Did you see the video?
Did you see the video? I've not seen the video, but I read it.
Across.
So tell me.
I saw too many leading questions, so many. She wasn't interrogating the girl. She was putting words in her mouth.
Right.
The girl wasn't admitting anything. She was, afraid. And in the same video, she was saying, I cook for the kids, I bathe the kids. Then why is the girl the one putting the water in the water bottle for the kids? I felt that sometimes the way we treat our helps is how they treat us. So in this same story, in the video, the girl was asked why she doesn't take a bath. By the time she came into the house, she had infected skin, that she treats her the same way she treats herself. She buys her undies, she took her shopping, she bought her clothes. These are basic things that you do for your help.
Yeah.
But, she kept saying, after all that I did for you, you don't bathe well, you don't brush your teeth, you have excuses, you don't bathe throughout the week. And I'm like, what is the schedule in the house supposed to be like? Does she get a break time? Nobody's filling in all of that gap in the interrogation. So the girl was seen carrying a bucket, and the woman was talking throughout the video.
Right.
How old is the girl?
So as I said,
So
we don't have the full picture. That's why it's always difficult to discuss these things. That's why we just want to reference it. But the issue is, how do we work with helps in the house to ensure that we don't have a situation whereby we're accusing each other of these kind of things?
Most times we put, when I see bosses or madams put videos like this online, I worry about what the intention is, because I feel like when I saw it, first thought was, there must be something fetish. It is jazz. Because really, I can't imagine why you would ever want to do such a thing if it isn't that there is some spiritual connotation to it. Putting menstrual period inside bottled water for children. But the next thing that came to my mind is, why do we post? Why do we feel the need to post and name and shame and just put the face of this person out there without even thoroughly understand? Like, did you catch the person pouring the bottle? Did you catch her pouring that stuff into the bottle? Or like, how red-handed was the catching process done? That's on one end. On another end is, I've learned that really good people are good people. It's not really about what you do. So there are cases where you are really, really kind to people. You do all that you can to help them, give them, they get well paid, you give them clothes, you do all sorts for them, and they will still do things that are despicable, things that you don't expect them to do. So there are bad people that you will do good to the bad people, and they will still be themselves, which is bad.
The part you mentioned, because there are two parts of this. The fact that you record something itself, you as a person, I don't know, that we still have to deal with the fact that many people, ordinarily, when things like this happen, you record it and then post online. That's another issue. But what are some of the most bizarre things your help could do? Or let me rephrase it. What is the most ridiculous, outrageous, wicked attitude you've ever experienced with somebody working with you? Because this can be interpreted in different ways. You could say it's jazz, you could say it was a mistake, you could say that you were trying to experiment. There are different ways of looking at it, but what is the most bizarre thing you've experienced? Let me come to you.
The most bizarre was employing someone who turned out to be an alcoholic.
Oh,
I think I mentioned it.
You mentioned it.
She would get really pregnant. And sadly is that the story I've heard about her since she left me is even really, really sad. So yes, I think for me, that has to be. But then also, that this is life and living with people. Sometimes you start off well with your help. First of all, I hope we're not even talking about a minor. Because if we're talking about a minor, I'm not even interested in that conversation.
Yeah. Less than 18.
Okay, so if you're a teenager...
The fact that it's less than 18, I'm not seeing the video, but the fact that it's less than...
What are we talking about here? Yes, So sometimes I would say you have put yourself... You create the scenario to allow some things happen. How do you have a child in as your help? Because the way a child would decide to handle things that are unpleasant or disagreeable or uncomfortable, you will handle it like a child. An adult can say, see, madam, I'm done. I don't think I like this attitude. I'm not comfortable working here anymore. I'm leaving. A child is thinking, I'm going to do something, you know, just the way children are. So if we put that aside, but if it's an adult, things happen. You live with people for a certain time. Sometimes you're good, sometimes you're not. But it has to be that there's this respect that you have. People who work for you deserve respect, and people that work for you to know that as your boss, you know, you deserve to be respected. But I always say this to everyone that has worked for me. And when I start noticing that the friction is getting too much, I say, you're not a slave. You've not been forced. There's not a gun put to your head. If you're done, you're done. And if the person does not tell me that, they say, Mio, I'm done. I don't think I can continue. We can't be doing this. Thank you very much. I don't think it's a big problem, except we're dealing with minors here. Then for me, I think this is a serious
when it comes to helps, and as I said, it's difficult to comment on this video because we don't have the full picture. But the conversation for us now is how do we treat people living with people? Yes, that's the conversation. Because in my own house, for example, all the people that I have, I usually have one, but because since my mother-in-law and the grandmother started staying with me, I had to get two just so that we have enough people in the house. Those who live with me are empowered. I mean, I was speaking somewhere, was it last year, and I told them how I manage my home with my helps. And somebody stood up and said, no, that's nonsense. When you do that, your children will feel like they are slaves in their own father's house. And what I was trying to tell them was that people that live in my own household are empowered. I was telling Toko a story recently where one of my helps slapped my daughter. Slapped. I just heard my oldest child crying, Mommy, and I ran down and said, what's going on? So she's like, Auntie, please slap me. I'm like, okay, what happened, please? Please then told me what happened. So there's a rule in my house. iPad, certain time for iPad. At that moment, it was not time for iPad. She told Elizabeth, take away from the iPad, put it down. She didn't answer her. Several times, back and forth in the room. She left her for a few minutes, came back again, you're still on the iPad. Of course, as an adult, she took it from her. In anger, as she was walking out the room, in anger, my daughter got up. Obviously, she was upset, and I pushed the door. And the door now almost hit the auntie. And she also hit her head on the wall. Said immediately she slapped her. I said that was a fantastic slap. Because it was the right slap at the right moment. Because that slap should not have waited 3 minutes or 10 minutes. That slap was needed. In fact, she had made it hotter so that next time you don't talk to an adult like that. Because there are rules in the house. So my help is empowered. They know that they are stakeholders. We are all raising these children together.
How long have you had this help?
5 years. Well, the first one is 5. The second one is 4 years. So, and they're going to be 5 years this December. The other one's going to be 4 years this December. So we all know we are stakeholders in this house. When we go to parties, they are seeing and hearing what the children are talking about. They come back to me, that girl and that Elizabeth, they're talking about this thing. Immediately I have an idea what to handle. So it depends on how you... Now, it's not... But just like I said, sometimes no matter how good you are to people, if you are bad, you're bad.
A bad person.
There are people like that.
I have been made to... Okay, you know, I've never had maids. I just recently had an assistant and she leaves. Once I get back home, she's done. And sometimes before I get home anyway. So for me, I always ask for help from my neighbors. So there was this particular set of family that were always with my kids. And then I started noticing my daughter's certain traits that are not mine. I started to observe them. And I noticed that this particular girl, she was so confrontational. And so my daughter was picking off of her, lying and all of those things. And I waited. There was a particular confrontation. She went at me. I said, you need to leave now because I'm temperamental. I was getting to the point I needed to slap her. I said, you need to leave my house right now. She said, I'm not leaving. Auntie, I'm not leaving. That one, she had to go. And then they said, no, you are very, it's you that is the problem. It's not her. You know, she's a child. You are grooming her. It's okay. And then one particular time, she went out after leaving my house and went somewhere else entirely. Both parties, both family members saw her returning. At the night, nick of the night, I think to 11, because we went on a search party. And everybody went to business as usual. I say, my own mother's house. We call my mother Alaja Iya Rashida. You will go back to that place you're coming from. We will get to the bottom of it at that time of the night. I said, this is not how I want to raise my child. I come from a very strict home where you are accountable to my parents for every decision, step you take. I have another 10 years old. She's watching us doing this. No. everything had to scatter, no matter how the relationship scattered. So sometimes these tough decisions, you take them. But you see, what I don't discuss in my house is how many meat you eat in the pot. If you finish it, all of us will be looking outside. How many empty food and you break gadgets, you break plates. Those are not things that my parents fought or discussed. So I don't discuss it. No matter how, those are mistakes that you make. But you see, when it comes to the affects the kind of human being I'm raising. Maybe you are going to copy one behavior somewhere and I cannot change it. Sometimes I don't even try to change it. I cut it off immediately. Everybody can go their own because we're still grooming children.
So, I think I like the idea of cutting off immediately because sometimes we're sentimental. A lot of, and I'm saying it from personal experience, a lot of parents that have a maid, maybe you have just one, and you see some slight traits that can be a trigger, and you know this is not a good thing. Yeah. But you're looking at the fact that, I've had this maid for like 2 months. Before I now get another one, and I'll train her, and she would understand how my system runs at home. Let me just manage. And while we're managing, things are getting bad. So I feel we should learn to cut things off immediately you notice something is going wrong. If you can see, I believe that when we're employing, I don't employ skills, I employ character. I want you to be able to learn, and I'll train you. But if I can see you giving me bad eye, or there's this look in your face, that raises because those kind of things, I want you out of my space. I don't want you looking at me and you're bitter or you're sad. I quickly must get you out of that.
The energy must be right.
Yes.
The energy must be right. I get that because sometimes some people are coming from really, really bad places. Yes. And they hope that your house will be the way they will have the...
But you better come with good character and good spirit.
But see, they also have baggages. Yeah. And sometimes, so some people are patient enough to understand the baggage. But you see, it's a risk. It's a terrible risk. It's a terrible risk. Because you can see the baggage, understand the baggage, and help them through the baggage to get a refined person. Or you can realize that, please, I can't take this.
This reminds me of a help I had one time. When she came, like the first 1 or 2 months, she was good. Then I realized, then my mom came to visit and we're all over her. But I realized that her response to it was weird. It was cold. And I didn't understand, because usually most people just like that grandma is around, even they've never met, because when grandma is around, things are much easier, you know. She was just cold throughout and cold towards my mom. But eventually we found out that she lost her mom. So in her own way of handling it, she was cold and bitter. I said she turned into something else. We gently said, Auntie,
continue your journey.
I'm sorry, I did not have that kind of patience to work on someone like that. I hope that she gets the help that she needs. But, you know, for me, it was translating into something. And for most mothers, we are careful the sort of people that we bring into our environment where we're raising our children. You see that look that you talk about, that bitterness, that anger that you see. Once I see that thing,
time to go. Let me go to a break. When we come back, we'll still discuss it, because it's not just about the incident that happened. As I said, we couldn't tell the full story, but it's more of how do we learn from each other on having help, because many of us need them. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. You talked earlier about the look, you know, which I had explained, but let me come to you, Nima.
So I wanted to share a maid that I put up with. So my mother-in-law found this one for me when I started having health issues under stress, and she came with her mom. Her mom kept insisting she wants to work with me. I asked for the girl's age. She said she was 19. And I said, I don't want someone of your age, madam. I want someone I can talk to. Because I don't want someone that will carry the gist back to my mother-in-law and say, that's the way I will talk down at you if you need to be. I will trash you with my tongue if you need to. So I said, I can't work with you. She kept insisting she would do the work. The girl now came. I insisted, if you're working with me, you do the work and you go to school. She said, no. So I looked at her mental ability and talked to her. I said, maybe you should get a skill. I did not even ask questions. I went to go and register her in the skill. Suddenly, I just saw the person, a proper fashion school, and the person said, your girl has not been coming. I said, I noticed it. What is happening? Because I had sacked her because she was very slow. She would never take messages. She doesn't. I said, quickly carry that look thing away. But the school had paid for 6 months, and she didn't go. So when I now called her, and her mom, they said, you see, it's you that brought the... In fact, I don't want to speak to Yoruba. She said she now wants to go to school. And the truth is, she didn't even go to the school. They are sitting at home, but she doesn't want to learn it again. And they talked down that I was forcing her to go to school, to learn a skill. I was forcing it on her, as in how to better yourself. So people can be funny and strange, but I'm grateful that that episode is far behind.
I said, it depends on the person. Because I'm interested that we're talking about this. The dress I'm wearing was made by Peace that is in my house.
Imagine.
I bought her a machine, a brand new machine. And what I'm wearing right now, she made it. It's the first outfit that I'm wearing. I told her this money is a bit tight. Please, you loosen us a bit. But she did a fantastic job. I sent her to a very good one. So the truth is that people, it's based on how you are raised. When you come into somebody's house, there has to be some kind of a training. I think there's a lady that we interviewed on the show. Her job now is to help to train these people. When you come to the house, there's a way you have to be and behave in a way that you be accepted because you can be empowered. Because I tell my people, it's not about here. Even blessed, I said, you have to talk about here, what you're going to do after here. This guy said, machine, no, I'm angry with you, I'm not angry with you. This is your machine, it's your machine. Wherever you're going, you carry it with you. And you're empowered, whatever, you can do it. But I said, for your own good, though, stay here. Get a few of my customers, ladies of your view can be giving them social clothes. Have a few customers, have a big clientele. Then when you are going, you have somebody you can, you have people you can call. But I was going to share a story of what I experienced because I had a nanny when I had my first child. Fantastic, like the best nanny. She was 50-something.
I know her.
Really fantastic nanny, the best. She was in her 50s, you know, and she was perfect. But the moment the twins came, she froze. Like she literally did not touch those twins. She did not. She was just saying, and he said, you know, she's not my first child. She be using the liver to care. You know how they say. She be using. She wouldn't want to touch.
You carry your twins by yourself.
She wouldn't. No, for like almost a few months, she didn't touch those babies. I just realized, what's wrong with this auntie? She just froze. She couldn't just connect. She was just only connected to Elizabeth. So I had to call like, auntie, you can't stay here anymore. You can't help me. I'm here bathing 2 children. I need help. You cannot help me. It's time to go. And that's why I had to let her go. But you see, sometimes when they come in, we must read the signs. And going back to this woman, let's bring it back to this our conversation. You know, how when they do offend you, when they do go out of line, what is the next line of action? Is it the camera now that we do? Because it's now popular. Everybody now records and show. I understand the rationale. I don't want Tokwe to go and hire this person who stole money, dollars for me, or stole this. Or, you know, that's usually, I'm thinking of the next woman that wants to hire her. So maybe I want to record and put it out there. But should there be a law stopping this kind of thing? Because they're naming and shaming people.
There should
just outrightly.
So we have laws against, you know, false accusation and malicious prosecution of a person. And they should be taken seriously. You shouldn't put a camera in front of anybody. Record them and post it until they are proven that crime that you say they committed, not just because you, except your CCTV. Like there was one video trending of one old woman who went abroad to help Nigerians nurse their babies, and when they go to work, the CCTV will catch her abandoning babies, you know, maltreating them. If your CCTV catches them, then it's not you who staged it, that's evidence. But you put your camera, like this one, when you put it in front of the girl, you are the one that was talking. 90% of the time, only this woman was talking. All the girls, in fact, everything was inaudible, what she said. And the woman was the one louding it. You need to watch the video, it will be annoying.
So you know, I've had to...
It's like you set her up to catch her. You caught her with a bucket of blood. Somebody that is in period, if she piss, she go piss blood now. You know, and you said she put her blood inside her urine as if we're not women. And then you said she took it she wants to put it in your kids' bottles. And you don't have the bottle that she had already put it in. Please stop doing that video. You have just implicated yourself. And somebody should talk to her. We should be more circumspect. You see these things, even if you had the intuition, you know, women, we just, I just knew she wanted to have my kids. Let her go honorably.
So I've had to take a video.
Let me take a pause. I have Ade, and I'll come to you. Ade is from London. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning. Yes, very clearly. Go ahead, please.
Oh, all right. This is what I want to do. One thing I want to say is this. If you have a children, God has blessed you with children, please ask to take care of children. That's number one. Number two, if you want to employ me, you must be well to do to be out of way.
We can't hear you, Mr. Deo.
Maybe your mouth.
Oh, we couldn't hear. I think you're saying you have a CCTV. If you want to have help, you have a CCTV. That's an important tool equipment to have. You're gonna.
So I was going to say that I've had calls to record someone, and I know it's because whether we like it or not, there are some people that lie, and we have malicious people. So I had this person who was working for me, And one day, I heard her scream and accuse my son of pouring hot water on her. My son, this was many years ago, he was like a toddler. But the accusation was that he poured hot water on her. So this is a huge adult and a baby. So I was wondering how it happened. She was carrying, you know, hot water on a tray. And he opened the door. He didn't even know she was coming. And he hit the tray and he poured on her. But the way she reported it, so for me, I felt that this was important. So I quickly took a video. I asked her, how did it happen? Took her to the hospital. They started treatment. And they said, please, while it's healing, wear short crop tops. Right. And every day, I would take a video to show me, I was the one with my hands that would clean the wound and I put the gauze and whatever. And I called the family, let them know. You know, even with all that, when the family came, there was still the story of, whatever. I said, see, I just want her to go. But I did not want to say she should go right now while we're treating this. Yeah. But these are the treatments I've done so far. Look at the videos. And I would say to her, say with your mouth. So for me, it was just that I don't want someone to leave and then have a whole story to say about me. Yeah. I said, if you're ready to leave now, I'm willing to keep caring for you until you're well. Yeah. But if you're willing to leave now, let it be here. In front of your family that you have said you're leaving.
So that makes sense. I mean, that makes sense. Well, unfortunately, but wait. So that yes, but that video, if she wants to show her sister, somebody or to show the friend, somebody now puts it on her phone and then plays it online, you would think she'd intentionally put it online.
No, but that's not what usually happens. The case that we should speak out against is where you suspect someone stole from you and you be like, you're the only one that was in this house. This is the person that is stealing from me. I caught you sleeping with my husband. I caught you sleeping with my... you know, like anything that you people see, you just bring out the phone. I want to show your face. I caught you were... I caught them in bed together. So, like... You can, if you do the video for your evidence, maybe you want to go to court to divorce your husband later and say you caught them in the act. Evidence. Keep it. Not that you post it online. Especially with cases where there are several times where after the situation has been properly investigated, they later found out, oh, the money was inside the... I didn't know where I hid the money. You know, and then they come back and say, I later found it.
Wouldn't you have been pleasantly... well, wouldn't you have been pleased to find out that the girl you're about to hire, Nima had posted a picture about her. And is that not the girl that Nima wanted to that she stole?
So the truth is falsely change.
Yeah.
Yes. And the truth is people actually change. A girl might have come to your house at 21 and she stole from you because she really had never seen this kind of thing before in her life. And she stole, you caught her, you checked her wardrobe, you checked her bag. I've had house girls steal from me. She was going home, she took my chain. Like me, I don't hide anything. She packed clothes. My mom was like, check her bag. I said, Mommy, don't worry. Mommy now later checked the bag and found things in her bag, my children's things. I didn't do a video of that. You're already going, no problem. You were a good maid, but you stole. Big deal. Go. At least you are not in my house to do it further, but I will not take that video. This is someone that
spoil your chances.
And you might get married and then you spoil her future by putting her face out there. Rather, talk to her. You are better than this. You shouldn't be stealing or you shouldn't be doing this. And then let her go with honor and hope that she actually changes.
So go back to that.
Those people change, then we didn't have them forever.
No, we didn't have a last resort of the courts or the criminal system in any criminal case. We say, okay, we're happy ourselves. Let's be putting it out there. Some people will take the evidence, put it out there, and they won't do nothing. So what do you can't do them for? Take the evidence. There was a video of a woman who said that the food for her kids was poisoned. She made a video of the maid. She was forcing the maid eat from the food, and she refused. Eat from the food you have packed for these kids. This is what the CCTV has shown you doing. And they did that video before she now posted. We understand that. And you have that evidence. And take it to the... You didn't prosecute. Let us know how she was arrested, tried, whether she's in juvenile court, whatever happened, so that other people watching will know that there's a last resort. But most maids who are criminally inclined will say, after video, what next? Some people don't shame finish. They don't have shame. So if you are just out to shame, you're not doing anything otherwise. Really, what are we doing? And when the person is underage, just as Tokwe said, what about the future? What about the second chances? If the person now finally grows up and is even a better person, that video continues to haunt them through life.
Let's take a few comments on social media.
But it's not important if someone does something bad in your home, whatever the intentions were, you take what is evidence and you keep for just the next person that may work with them. So it's not always malicious sometimes. But I understand the social media one. we are in a society where we're constantly changing helps. And usually, we've heard too many stories of people who have been killed by someone, and someone would say that's how they did something or similar, or this person had been an escapee from prison, and we don't have all this information. So I feel it's good to take these videos and keep them, or take these evidences to keep them and send to the police if it's such a serious criminal offense. And then this thing of referees, I always ask, who have you worked for? And then may I work with an agency, so that I know who to call and if anything were to happen.
And we had a lady on the show who vets criminally and all of that. Everywhere your maids must have been, passed and everything. So videos available are helpful. But there's this tweet I wanted us to build on. It said, the fact must be told that our parents are very sentimental about their househelps. We don't treat them like our own brother and sister. There are some families that there's a clear segregation. Even me, that I don't believe in it, I can understand it now. When you give too much privileges, so some people it gets to their head. So I used to sit with them, do everything, and I allow freedom to access to my things. So you can say, Auntie, that dress you wore yesterday, I saw it in your wardrobe, I've seen it, I want it, and I allowed it. It came back to haunt me. I've learned differently, but I don't understand that wide gap.
Let's go on a break.
Everybody's a human being.
When we come back, we'll discuss that. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing this matter, and Nima brought in an angle.
Yes. So this disparity between people living in the house just because one person is a maid.
When we're growing up.
In this video, sorry, Morayo, this woman too said that because the girl was smelly, she took her out of her children's room and gave her a mat to sleep on the floor. So imagine it was Harmattan. The girl would sleep on the floor. What I would not do is take somebody that cannot sleep with my kids. I will not. So you can let us test the toxicity from the door. Can't come in. There's no room.
No, I have.
But if you must come in, you must.
I've had a maid that was good, but she doesn't take her bath in time, as she has body odor.
No, you must take benefit of the house.
And I've said it over and over.
You will ground her.
Give her time to.
You will ground her. She must take her bath
at a certain
first
time.
thing in the morning, and you will take your time to wake up. So I had a cousin that lived with us when I was a child, when I was a much younger, early 20s. And I made sure when she came in, very terrible behavior. She did not speak English. I put her up in a school near the house. I sped up her learning. I took my time to teach her myself. And then she would sleep, she would bedwet. And she would not bathe. She would be hiding the clothes. Since I wanted to help her, it's aggression. Oh yeah, wake up, carry these clothes, go and wash it outside and dry it. Oh yeah, take your bath and wear a clean dress. Daily, I watch her and I'll tell her speak in English because she was going to school now in Lagos. Say this and this and this. The time my cousin learned English finished, there was a day I wanted to gossip her. Somebody was in front of her. I was saying in my language, tell that person, I don't want to see that I'm not around. I'm very busy. He said, what did you say? I should tell him? In English. I was so irritated. I look at you. But you know, you cannot say because somebody has a defect. Most people, even us, if we go to another person's family, we'll probably be coming from our home with our own upbringing.
But but see this thing of different. When we're growing up, we had mom, daddy's plates, mommy's plates.
Oh yeah,
we all grew up with that. And in my house that I left, all of us used everything. There was no mommy's plate, daddy's plate. We all used everything, everybody. But as I moved to the new house, you have a
went back to mommy's style.
Is it now? Because I now got some new plate for my mom. From past town.
And they were like
really nice, expensive plates.
Mistakenly break the plates.
And I said to myself, hey, I'd like to have my own special plates that I'm using, you know. But I did that for a while. But after everybody, but now eventually we are all now using the same thing. But the point is that there was somewhere in my subconscious that said, this is something Mom spent lots of things for. I want it to be especially my plate or my husband's plate. I don't want everybody using my plate. And I did that for a while, but because I wasn't so strict with it.
Because it's not natural to you. Me, that is natural to me. We do it.
Oh, you have your own special.
Oh no, I have special dishes for when people come and it's not everyday plates and everything.
No, we're talking of everyday.
So you not go out, but you have people that come into your home. You teach them. Yeah. So if you are not consistent in teaching them, they to the home. But it's natural to me.
So let's assume that we come into this table now. Those are Morayo's mugs with her picture, and I'm the maid. And I'm supposed to use a less mug, and I'm supposed to love Morayo enough to wash that mug and clean it with pure hot water. Okay. You're not giving love, so I won't give you love back.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
That.
No. Hey, me,
I've seen this instruction.
Bessie, are you watching?
You know, you said it's
so we had a
Let me take this call.
No, you don't want to try.
I'll come back to you. Good morning, Tunde. Are you there from Magodo? You're live.
Yeah, I'm there. Can I talk? Can I contribute?
Go ahead, please.
Hello?
You're alive. Go ahead, please. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Morayo.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, we can hear you.
I've had experience of housemaid several times. Okay. The one that imported his boyfriend from Ibadan to take care of my kids, and the one that told my daughter to be playing with her breast. No. This one, no, I work as a banker. My wife works as a banker. So this lady imported her boyfriend from Ibadan. Luckily, my daughter was sick then. So she was giving the medication, my wife was applying to her every 6 hours. So my wife came from her work and met the boyfriend in my house. After meeting the boyfriend in my house, they closed the door, they did everything. I know my wife knew that I was very stubborn. She didn't tell me. She has been looking for another housemaid. So she told me that day that, Tunde, look, I'm sending this girl out. So I'm going to get another one. I said, why? And she told me that she will tell me the reason later. So she took the girl to her daughter that she will send her to Ibadan. So when she came back, she told me that, do you know what she saw? That she came back from work. She met this housemaid with the boyfriend. They shut the window and everything. I said, why didn't you tell me? She said she knew that if she told me that immediately I will take action and she will send the baby, that I will send the lady out and she will be the one suffering, taking good care of my baby. Yeah. So that's how she went. Another one, my baby was about 2 years. So she will tell my daughter to be playing with her boobs. So when my wife comes back from work, my daughter will be saying, mommy, breast. I said, what are you saying, Cheryl? Not me that the house girl was telling my daughter to be playing with her breast. Yeah. So it's only God that will give people.
Thank you, Sunday.
Okay. That's playing with it, not breastfeeding.
Not breastfeeding.
But that is as bad.
That's just as bad, because I had that experience. I had an older woman, another woman, who was, I thought because she's an older woman, she'd be good. She was in my house then. She had that with one of my kids. She was trying to, I just noticed that my daughter started touching my own breast. I'm like, I now started trying to observe more. And I'm very good at, I know how to sneak into you.
Yeah.
I do that very well.
They don't call me CIA for nothing.
I saw it, that woman had to go immediately, because I just noticed that my own daughter she was encouraging the man, they got to be playing her breast. And then I now saw my daughter doing that to me, and I'm wondering, where did you learn this rubbish from? And then that was my nanny that actually taught her that nonsense. So it's a horrible, that's the thing. No matter how great you are, they have some are just bad.
Yes.
You have to just...
Because probably they already, they say hurting people hurt others. Abused people tend to abuse other people. So if you bring in a maid that has been abused, no matter how kind you are, you bought all the clothes, you spoiled her, she's an abused person. Yeah. She's likely going to want to abuse as well. So it just, I watched, I saw something online and I called my husband and said, we need to get CCTV. I think I was on the show, we discussed, I said, we get CCTV, but I've forgotten again.
I had that too.
So right now we are here. We're discussing it again. Let's get it again.
Just haven't done it.
Please.
If
you can afford it, get it. If you cannot afford it, use your eyes, your ears. Everything must be at alert.
Something happened to me. You guys remember over the Christmas holiday. I had to step it up. So
this is one that I was telling you about that I had to let go. Her daughter was in Italy prostituting. And she was trying to see, and the daughter was married. So when I now saw the scenario, the daughter's husband will be coming to the house, be visiting the woman. And both of them are in agreement that the daughter has gone to Italy to prostitute and is sending money back home. So I didn't know that quickly. When I was hearing the conversation, understanding the story, and she was not asking for our help, that if I have anybody, that her daughter wants to leave her madam, the madam is always stressing her, she wants to leave, and I'm thinking, you and your son-in-law,
and all this drama.
Out of the house. Because that kind of exposure.
So those are the kind of people, those are the kind of experiences they have and they bring into your house. And you think they'll be normal. They'll be normal.
I was earlier trying to make the point of, a maid. We had one. My auntie had a maid that came into the house from Cotonou. And, they have this setting. They have a dining, full setting of a daddy's dish and mommy's dish. I didn't grow up with that exposure. And so the maid just would wash hers, clean, very neat, sanitize it properly, and every other person's plate anyhow. And I don't want to go to the details of how gross she was with the...
She wasn't doing her job.
No, was she taking it as a job? She's now taking it that, okay, these people are looking down on me, they're enslaving me. So I was like, when we now analyze, I was saying to my auntie, maybe she didn't understand the segregation as a job. She saw it as you enslaving her.
So that's why it's also good to interview these people and understand it.
Yeah,
certain mindset. You will know.
You'll be shocked at how some people
I
can
know,
be.
but then
what
you
is safest is that we all use the same. So you do your own the same. How can you go and read somebody's... I can't even use a cup to wash that.
No, let's not encourage bad behavior.
Yes, that's bad behavior.
I was saying that.
In my house, we all use the same cutlery.
But there's some...
But I know, like, we all eat the same food. But my husband cooks. And he cooks really well. My husband will go to K2 Market, buy what he feels like eating, prepare it, and a maid will go and dish the food. No, as in, like, and somebody in my house did it. He was so pissed. He said, you brought people to live in the house. I went to the market, cooked beans. I came back home thinking I would eat my beans, and my beans had been eaten.
Because
there was no, that's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Because even...
I'm talking about your items.
Not your own. What is not your own is not your own. If I've already said this plate, I've already bought this dish, it is for Oga to eat.
The children are not supposed to eat.
The children
kids, this is your
own blood and everything.
Your kids, this is your plate.
Even these people that behave like that.
I can't hear anybody.
So even these people that behave like that, even in their homes, they have boundaries. They have respect for their parents, whatever, their parents' things. Or an elder in their home, there's a way that they treat that person. So they understand that there are rules and regulations that work per house. If the person doesn't understand that, that person is not meant to be in your household. Not everyone is meant to be in your household.
I'm not saying you can't set your boundaries.
Not every. No, you have to. No, we have to say this over and over again because we cannot give passes to people that behave badly or wickedly and say, oh, it's because you have put boundaries in your house. Boundaries is not evil. Boundaries is not wickedness. It's just a sign of respect. And that child, and for me, that person that works in your house, they learn and they take it over in their own homes and they'll do it. Yeah. Someone like that, go and sit in their house and see the sort of boundaries that they have.
Yeah,
That's
I'll
what
I'll let you respond in a minute. Let me take Patricia and come to Abuja. Patricia, are you there?
Me too.
Yes, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
I like your show.
Thank you.
You are my sister. Ogbo. So, about this house girls problem.
Yeah.
There are some that I think spiritually, they are Satan, agents of Satan. Because I have had experiences with many of them. That you take them like your own, feed them, you eat the same food with the children, they do everything together. There is one particular one. I noticed that if I send her to my room, it will take her some minutes to go and bring something and come back. So one day I decided to tiptoe and follow her. I stood behind her in my room. She just faced my bed, raised up one leg. Till I entered, stood there for about 3 minutes. She did not know. When I called her name, she just turned around. In fact, this is still the cold that entered my body that day. And I said, what are you doing? She said she's just looking outside the window. For what? What are you looking for? It's good for us to be staying at home, we women. The following day, she fell down in her bathroom. I said, is this the first time you are using this bathroom? Why did you fall down? In fact, she had to call somebody. I had to send her away. After treating her, I sent her away. And she called and said she should apologize to me or else the leg will not go. I said, I've forgotten. I don't know what she has come to.
Thank you, Patricia. Yes, let me not let you respond.
I was trying to say, I didn't grow up with boundaries like that in my house. Everybody that came in, it was safe to share the same mug. So you wash, and because you can be the one using it next. And so I think that's the safest. I am saying no from my own exposure. You see the boundaries that we create sometimes are the boundaries that endanger us when we have other people in-house, especially maids. I'm saying, because this argument, I have tested it after that experience, and it has always worked. Recently, my maid brought her baby home, and we thought, okay, let's make cereal. You know, there's this cereal my son is addicted to. So we made it for the baby, and he was like, you use my plate, you use my spoon, and then they put it in her mouth and put it in my mouth. I was like, I had to educate him that if it's his mom who washes those plates, do you wash your plates? He said, no. I said, once the mom notices that, you know, she can be washing your plates in the toilet or in the toilet water, and that sparked him to look. I'm trying to teach him compassion. I'm just saying, there's evil is out there. You don't want to wake up one day and learn it.
Okay, I need to
so that happens. That happens. It's okay to have your boundaries. Like you said, I have special dishes where I bring down when I'm hosting. When I'm hosting guests, even they know they should carry it carefully. If you break, we can be having a conversation in another 1 month about it. Carry it carefully. I have some non-stick pots that are expensive, but I use all my sweat and salary to buy. You don't dare wash it and leave an iron spoon inside. We can be talking about it forever. But I'm not saying don't cook with this, don't touch this. I can school you on that, but you are a human being. You have access to the same pots and spoons I eat.
I think we're saying
I understand. I also grew up in a house which is a very small house. Most of the time we are 3, 4, and maximum 5. So we all use the same thing. Even right now in my house, we all use the same thing. But at some point, I realized that when I made that kind of freedom, I bought a few items. We still operate it because I'm not disciplined enough to tell them not to touch it. But I had to just state that this thing is so expensive. When you guys use it, you break it, and you break it often. So don't touch it unless I am the one touching it. But I feel when we say because we create a bit of boundary, some people might take that as an incentive to do wrong or do evil. The person is evil. The person just found an excuse to explore and show off the evil inside them. That's the way I see it, and I think we should not give excuse for that part at all.
Let me take this call from Sunday, calling from Bagada. Good morning, you're live.
Good morning.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Morayo.
Yes, sir.
Please, permit me to speak to you without language.
Okay. Go ahead. Okay,
I'm once a houseboy. Hello, ma'am.
You can hear you, Sunday. Go ahead.
Hello?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm once a houseboy.
You're once a houseboy.
Our boss treat us is, yes, but I'm a big man now to the glory of God. To the glory of God. My boss seen me, he was ashamed. We stay in 3 stories. I will mention the address. Number 8, around Mr. Talker. That's what we say. 8, after Mr. Kenny just of 10. Once I go to that woman. We stay in 3rd floor, and water used to run to up. She will not water. Asked me to fetch 3 drops of water. She punished me. And to the glory of God, today, I'm training her children. Her husband is late. So what I'm saying is that the way people treat houseboys, that's what triggered them to behave the way they are behaving. Even as it is now, my wife, you know, in my house, I don't want us to collect houseboys because you know my wife is doing it too. The one who collected, I chased him away. But I don't welcome it. So what is happening today? Please, sorry, can you say Yoruba? Can I proceed with Yoruba language?
Go ahead.
Hello? Okay. In conclusion, I look at the àwọn èèyàn tó ń tẹ ọmọ ọ̀dọ̀ wọ́n ti tọ́ àwọn ọmọ ọ̀dọ̀ yẹn dáa tó ṣe wọ́n bí ọmọ wọn wọ́n ṣe wọ́n bí ará àta wọ́n ta wọ́n dànù wọ́n lẹ́kẹ̀ ọmọ ẹ máa ní ìnú tó fi ń pa ọmọ lára ìní àgbọ̀mọ ọ̀gá ẹ̀sìn freezer ájọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ló lè àgbẹ̀ kóòdù àgbẹ̀ kan wọn ìní àgbọ̀jẹ.
Thank you, Sonny. So what he's saying is that many people don't treat their helps very well, and that's why they treat them like outsiders. That's why they.
So many.
So I was going to say that I wanted.
Well, how do you define outsider? Let's go ahead.
Can I just respond? You know, I said I was going to respond because when people set boundaries for some people, so I don't know for others, it's not to say you're beneath me, because we also set boundaries with our children, and we're not saying to our children, you're beneath me. And there's a certain mindset and upbringing that helps you understand that. But I also understand that there are people, and I have come across those, who feel that setting boundaries means to them, you're beneath me, you think I'm going to do something wicked to you, so you're trying to protect your things. It's not, it's just a respect thing that happens, and it's a good behavior that you learn and you teach other people. Not only we start with, and it's not just about plates and cups and spoons. You just start with little things. You have some people who will say to you, this is where daddy sits, you know, not everybody sits down, and it's fine for some people. It is not about saying you're beneath someone or that you're trying to say that the person is going to put jars on your seat. No. So when someone says to me that these boundaries that you're putting is what will endanger you or threaten your life, I think that's the wrong message. We need to teach people not everything is about a threat or we're trying to push something. That's the thing. So we need to see kindness and...
It is the evil treatment of others that I'm addressing. So you're putting boundaries, but you're actually telling people you're beneath me. Some people will say, no, you see this set of plates, they're very expensive, and only myself and daddy use them. and you are supposed to use plastic. Some people say, when we're at the dining, please be on the floor. We don't, in fact, disappear when we're eating. We know the extreme cases. So let's not be playing here. We're not...
I'm going to still disagree with Nima. Because what you are calling is extreme cases. I'm telling you what people every day do in their homes. But to insist that, but to keep insisting that you are putting boundaries because somebody, you are trying to push that. I'm not. I want to say this. I need to say this. And anytime, you interrupt me, I lose my train of thought. So for me, it is that people will put boundaries, and we also encourage boundaries in different things, in our relationship with people, in different things. And if it just happens that in the scope of what we're talking about, it has to do with plates and forks and spoons and things like that, it's still about the same boundaries that we keep talking about. It's the same boundaries that we're saying. It helps you to maintain good relationships. It helps you to maintain respect. And it is not about saying someone is beneath you. Someone can give you everything and still treat you like they're beneath you. With improper behavior, in the things that they say to you, in the way that they treat you. But someone treats you well, treats you kindly, and sits with you, talks with you, involves you in all the other activities,
let me give you an example.
But has put boundaries concerning some things, and then you say that
I'll come to Nima in a second.
It's a message to say we are beneath you. I think
for example, in an office setting, the MD's office is different from the secretary's office or the regular. So I can't say because I'm a staff of the company, I can go and sit in the MD's office and just sit down there because, we are all together. I'm not beneath you. I'm trying to understand your point. So the MD's office is here.
Yes.
Your own office is here. So I don't look like I'm beneath the MD. I go to his office and sit on his table and use his cup and drink and say, you know what, we're together.
Yes.
We're all working on the
same
company.
We love each other.
So that's the point you're making.
Yes.
However, you are trying to say that that's not the case. You're saying, I want your own point you're trying to say is that the fact that there's even an office here in the first place, that we should have an open office where we are all equal. The MDO set ahead. I want to be there.
So that's your MD's office.
Yes.
MD's office is a boundary that, company has set. That's normal. And then suddenly I'm coming into your office with something, I mistakenly, maybe I fainted on your seat, and you walk in and you scream, on my seat! How dare you? Do you know that the MD's seat? We know. We know what we are talking about here. Okay. As if the person who fell on your seat is walking and they have smudge or something on them. Right. I say, no, you can sleep on my bed. I know some people whose relationship will be like, no, you just gave birth, you can't sleep on my bed because, you're having your postnatal bleeding and all of that will stain it, it will dishonor it. I'll be like,
Let me pause you for a second. I have Shade's in holding. Shade, I'm sorry from Abuja, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Hello.
Yes. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to tell you that if one wants to get a housemate, if you cannot trust that housemate, it's not necessary you get that housemate. Because you always have the intuition that because he's not your family member, you can do something that is bad. That is it. If you know you cannot be plain-minded, treat the people equally as you will treat your children, I think that you don't take any househelp. Manage yourself the way you can. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
It's about trust. I always feel like I've always been concerned about the fact that they say, oh, I lock up this one, I lock up that one, and I'm like, I'm really with my children. If I'm locking up the things that are...
Better carry my children along.
I carry my children, so I don't trust you enough to... I don't do that. But some people do it, and it doesn't mean it is bad. I get Nima's story because I grew up in Maids too, and I had people that had house girls that... Once they are, you can't be around them when they are eating. If I have a guest, you cannot. You don't watch TV with me. You don't sit on the chair. I'm saying real life. You don't sit on the chair. You sit on the floor. A maid came to my house and she was sitting on the floor. Why you sit on the floor? I said, I know. She will go and eat in the kitchen. I said, why are you eating in the kitchen all the time? Eat at the dining. There's a dining there. Some of them eat, but that's how they've been accultured, and that's the training they've been given.
It's not you that is giving them.
I'm not the one that gave them that. So I try to change that. You don't need to sit on the floor in the living room. There are chairs. Sit on the chair, or they will stand and be watching TV from I'm like, you can actually come in and watch the TV. So I feel that there are some people that are actually wicked and evil to their maids. Yes. But even to an evil person, shouldn't a good person do evil? So if an evil person comes into your house as a maid, and a person comes to the house and you meet an evil boss, why don't you leave the evil boss? If you are a house girl watching, don't say my boss is evil. I'll be evil to her. I would harm her children. If your boss is evil, leave. leave that place because you are a good person. Don't become evil because you are working with an evil person. That's the right thing.
And also we've learned that there's nothing wrong in setting boundaries. So that's what Mariam was trying to say. Okay, I think we're all saying things.
To have a boundary as
let us.
You can. I told my maid, never you touch my husband's things. Don't put his clothes in his wardrobe. If you take them off the dryer, give them. I will do that. But you don't want your maid to think, or if, for instance, if your maid comes to your house and your kids are not using a particular mug that you have set boundaries on, they know never to touch. Not that you tell the maid, every other person in this house can touch, but you know, that's.
So let's take a few comments on social media.
I need to take this comment. So someone says here that her father is diabetic, and they had a cook who was also diabetic. But the children were allowed to eat all sorts of food. And he always felt that because he felt that them eating all the regular food were enjoying and they were being given access to their dad's food also. So he now started eating the regular food. Unfortunately, he died from diabetes complications.
Balogun Oluwabumi says, if she's not okay with the way they treat her as a maid, she should have rather left. After all, she won't remain there forever. What if she has HIV or other infections? I mean, nobody is safe in that house. Straight to the authorities. Ifemi says, as you use one hand to pull the maid close, remember to use the other hand to protect yourself. You might just be surprised at what the maid has for you. Hassana says, I have never had a help, but I have my special cutlery. I just love to use them. My children don't use them. So if I have a help tomorrow, the same rule would apply. It doesn't mean that I love them less. Okay, that's a different matter. I have such.
So, that happened. My kids were always throwing away all my spoons. And there was a day in the house with Ferk. And I came to the house one day and we didn't have any to eat. So my staff that works with Rep 360 bought me gold-plated cutlery and said, I bought these 2 units for daddy and mommy. Children should not touch it. They shouldn't take it to school. It shouldn't get missing. So sort of, we don't have like that. But I still eat with anything if I want.
So in my house also, my children have imbibed that culture. They know these are mommy's special things. These are mommy's special whatever. It makes me proud because I didn't even need to beat or shout or do anything. They have carried it along. So they learn it. I'm not forcing it on them.
It's natural. I have 1 spoon. I went to my mother's house to go and get it. You see that 1 spoon? He had a set she bought from Hajj in year 2000 when she went on Hajj. And that particular set, I love it. I love it. Anytime I bring it home, somebody takes it out, I'll go back and replace it. So I told my maid when she came, you see this particular spoon? I love to eat with it. Can you please just make sure it doesn't get missing? Simple. You can put some.
We have to wrap up. I think in a nutshell, I mean, we all have different ways, but you have to be, I mean, we have different ways of dealing with people. But the most important thing is that be good. And the truth is that no matter how good you are, there'll be some bad people. And if they are bad, it's always good for you to just let them go immediately. It's not a do or die affair. It's not a slavery either. It's a job. So do proper interviews, set the rules from the beginning, and it's also important for us to know what the boundaries are early, so that people don't don't misuse things. And also, more importantly, if your maid does something or your domestic help does something in your house, please don't be too quick to. You can record for your own evidence, especially if it's way to protect your integrity or protect who you are, but not to post on social media and then just for viewing pleasure. That's not the right thing. If you want them to be prosecuted, call the cops. They will arrest them and do the right thing. But you have a video evidence to use for the proceedings, not to use to name and shame people wrongly. It's really, it's not a good thing. We have to rethink these things. That's all we can take on today's show. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.